Hi, it's Nando from CNC Commentaries, and on this episode of CNC Movie Breakdowns, we're going to be talking about The Wizard of Oz, a 1930s film, an oldie and arguably a goodie. But of course, I couldn't do this alone. I've got my gracious co-host, Chase.
I have a feeling we're not in the Shire anymore.
Oh God, I wish we were, but no, we're in Kansas now.
It's a callback.
Yeah.
It's a callback to our last episode, and also a reference to this episode. I'm a genius. There's no stopping me.
Right.
Yeah.
We're talking about Wizard of Oz. Oh boy.
Yes.
This
The
is,
Wizard of Oz, or as you call it, the Wizard of Flaws.
yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good explanation there. But anyway, this movie came out a while ago.
1939.
Yeah, a lot of things happened in 1939. The deadliest war in human history started in 1939. But The Wizard of Oz also came out in 1939.
I don't know why this divulged into a history lesson, but we're here to talk about The Wizard of Oz and the impact that The Wizard of Oz has had on movies.
Yep. So, Wizard of Oz is it's quite the old film. But it is in color. At least
Sometimes.
for the majority of it.
Should I give a little synopsis in case those aren't aware of what The Wizard of Oz is?
Yeah, sure.
All right. There's this girl named Dorothy, and she lives in Kansas. And then, she's worried that her dog is going to be taken by this mean lady. And then next thing you know, there's a hurricane, and she gets transported to the magical world of Oz. She meets a few characters on the way, and hijinks do ensue.
That's my line.
Together, Dorothy finds truths within herself while exploring this new fantastical realm and all the weirdness that Oz has to offer. And trust me, we are going to get into a lot of the weird stuff that goes on in Oz.
Yeah, that's definitely it. That's definitely for sure. The land, this realm is certainly a strange one. There's a lot of kooky characters and a lot of strange individuals. But yeah.
Agreed.
But we did not start off in this realm. We start off in the best state in the United States, Kansas.
I mean, some would say Kansas is arguably scarier than Oz, but I mean, who am I to say?
Kansas is notable for a lot of things. Having expansive farms. Superman came from there, and there are rampant tornadoes.
Exactly. What were your what were your general first thoughts of this film? What do you remember the first time you saw this film? What did you think of it?
First time I saw this film was a couple of years ago. Unlike the most general society, I didn't grow up on this film. I won't lie to you, this film bores me to tears. The first time I watched this film, I fell asleep 2 times. Oh my God.
That really shows how you have no inner child at heart.
Inner child at heart? What do you mean? I love fantasy, but in this fantasy setting, like, nothing happens.
I also think it'd be safe to wager a guess you're not a big musical guy.
Oh no, I love musicals.
Oh, really now?
Yes. Beetlejuice is one of my... Oh my God, I love watching that.
Well, the Beatles is musical, but I'm talking about musical films.
I mean, like, what are some notable musical films? I don't know if I've watched a lot of musical films.
Oh, I mean,
I don't know.
we're not gonna list musicals.
But like, I like musicals and everything. It's just that this movie is just like the characters kind of jump around, like they fiddle around for a bit and then they just move on. Nothing really happens. The most entertaining part of this movie is watching the Tin Man move around.
I guess let's jump into The Wizard of Oz.
All right. Wizard of Oz starts off again in Kansas, and there's no color.
Straight off the bat, we're thrown into action with Dorothy and Toto.
Oh yeah, Dorothy has a dog, Toto, aka the best character in this movie.
One of the best actors in the movie.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so yeah, they're in Kansas. There is no color because, as we all know, color didn't arrive in Kansas until later.
Okay, that's true.
And so, they're just chilling, relaxing, all cool. Until a tornado shows up.
Well, first off, so Dorothy's got this dog, Toto, and some problem occurs earlier in which this woman named Elmira Gulch wants to take Toto away from her, basically, and I don't know what jurisdiction this lady has where she can just take the dog. I think at one point she says, I'm going to destroy the dog or demolish the dog, and I'm like, it's very strong language for just a dog.
Yeah,
demolish.
She makes it seem like she's gonna suddenly grow superpowers and just incinerate this dog.
And I don't think you can just. And she says she's got paperwork, but I don't think legally she'd just be able to take the dog.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, Dorothy's kind of spooked by this. She likes Toto very much. I also like Toto very much.
We brushed over it a bit, but there we get our first song where Dorothy sings "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." A very iconic moment. I believe this won the Oscar for Best Original Song. Could be wrong. But I think it's a very iconic moment, and I think it's a pretty good song.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the most interesting parts in this movie are watching the Tin Man exist and some of the songs. Because I definitely like some of them. I like the first.
I mean,
song.
It's hard to say that the songs aren't the best part of this. Because it's definitely, while yes, this is based on a pre-existing story, L. Frank Baum. I think a lot of the times, sometimes you've the plot and story elements in between, the musical portions are a little forgettable at times, and just aren't as captivating.
Yeah, it seems like this movie is just kind of bouncing around until they get to the next musical number.
Yeah, it definitely is, because this is supposed to be a big show. This is a big showstopper, family musical film.
Yes.
There wasn't really anything of this kind in 1939.
No, and I think that's why a lot of people enjoy it. Or at least that's why I think it was so popular back in 1939.
And I think you also got to give it credit for the technical advancements it does do.
Yeah,
and while it is funny to look at some of the special effects,
the most notable thing that this movie does is the technical stuff it does.
Well, yeah, and it's the Technicolor aspect, going from black and white to Technicolor.
Yes, it's very cool. I mean, I think it's obviously really advanced for 1939. I think it got a bit overshadowed by the big Utho that also happened in 1939, but I mean, I think it's really cool to appreciate it from our perspective today.
Agreed. So like we said, Dorothy is a little shaken and taken aback by the fact that this lady wants to take her dog, because Toto allegedly attacked her. And she's just, she's very upset. She doesn't want this to happen. So she does what any logical teenager does, and, gets ready to pack her bags and go.
Yeah, she's about to say, she's out. She's about to mic drop.
She's, saying goodbye to her Auntie M, and, she's she's out of there.
Yeah. They take Toto and put him in like a basket. This lady freaking sells her dog.
I always forget, like, there's just a random part where she just falls in a pig pen for no reason.
It's not I like it's I always like crack up at the part where they just shove Toto in a basket.
Yeah.
Like, and after that, Toto makes like no attempt to escape the basket. Like, I can't even tell if the basket is moving.
No, well, Miss Gulch puts him in a basket, and then he can easily just lift his head out of there, and then he just plops out, and she doesn't even notice. I'm like, not very good if you're, you know. Also, I don't know how humane it is to just carry a dog inside a little basketball.
Also, I find it extremely funny that the lady taking Toto rides a bicycle.
And it's like you know she is bad because every time she comes around, big bombastic music starts playing, like
Yeah,
like,
she's got a theme.
Yes.
She's like final boss material. She has her own theme. She's pretty baller.
And of course, you know, it's the same. She's the same lady that plays the Wicked Witch of the West. It's Margaret Hamilton. And, you know, we got, like, you know, we see early on these, like, farmers, helpers at the farm. And, you know, they later go on to play the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow.
Yeah, and I mean, one of my favorite parts of The Wizard of Oz on an acting level is the Wicked Witch's laugh. Because I like to do some... I like to like play around with my voice a bit and try to put on different voices. And I remember for a while what I would do to practice like a really like the Wicked Witch has like a really iconic laugh.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, she kind of pioneered like the cackling. Like Palpatine totally ripped her off.
Well, there's just a lot of iconic lines in this film.
Yeah. So when I wanted to get good at cackling, what I would do is turn on scenes of the Wicked Witch laughing and just do my best impression of it.
Quite strange.
That's another thing that I really enjoy about this movie.
quite strange things you do in your free time, but we won't get into that. Anyways,
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
There's a tornado brewing, and Dorothy seeks shelter. First she goes to see. Well, she runs off, and she comes across this traveling charlatan. How would you describe him?
I don't know. He's quite mysterious.
Yeah, he's this traveling guy. He's got a crystal ball and he's got a hot air balloon. Played by Frank Morgan, and he's basically a fortune teller. And he's telling Dorothy, like, you know, you got to go back home. You know, someone out there misses you. It's basically, you know, typical, you know, fortune teller shenanigans to, you know, make it seem like they know what's going on.
Yeah, he's completely ripping her off. This is not a deal. And I mean, yeah, this guy is definitely strange, and I believe that this is the actor that plays the wizard, but I could be tripping.
Yes.
Yeah, he is. I really like that about this movie. You got a bunch of regular people when they're in Kansas, and then when she goes to the realm of Oz, all the regular people are now fantastical.
I mean, it makes sense because, well, spoiler alert, it's all a dream. It makes sense that these would be based on people she knows and has come across.
Yes. But anyway, yeah. So she runs into this fortune teller, and I really like. I don't know the name of the man who acts this, both the wizard and this fortune teller, but
Frank Morgan.
Frank Morgan, he does a great job. I really like his performance and how strange he comes off.
So Dorothy runs back home, but then, of course, there's a tornado.
A twist.
A twister, somewhat. And Dorothy gets hit in the head, falls right on her bed, and she's out like a light.
Yo, those are
but
some bars.
she's not. She gets somehow transported to a magical world. She wakes back up. She thinks everything's normal. She opens her door, and there's color outside.
Yeah. As you can see in her dream, color got added to Kansas, which, as we all know, didn't happen until much later.
Well, not Kansas, but Oz, I guess.
So, I mean, yeah. I don't know if this movie is like, I don't know if this movie is like giving you hints that this is all a dream, but like when the tornado is like picking up the house.
Oh yeah, this is one of the moments I actually find the funniest is when she's looking out the window and then you see Gulch, riding by on the bicycle, and then the two guys in the canoe, and I'm just like, that's not how physics works. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but
and it gives the impression about how like the house is just kind of floating. Like,
yeah,
I don't. It's definitely strange, but yeah. So Dorothy, now we got color in this movie, and
yes.
Oh boy, look at that set design. It's so beautiful.
I think we have to give props to the set design and costuming in this film.
This is the best part of the movie.
I mean,
I especially love.
It's nothing shy of amazing, and bringing together an already popular book like The Wizard of Oz, and just imagining it to the screen.
Yeah, I mean, I've never read the book, but I imagine he gave like Dr. Seuss descriptions. That's just how I imagine it, because I kind of feel like the stuff that happens in this movie, I get like a Dr. Seuss vibe from it. All the color and fantastical creatures.
I read the first Wizard of Oz many years ago, but I know there's like 20 to 30 books, and it's like a very big universe, and like more detailed than you could ever imagine unless you've read them.
Yeah, forget the MCU. Where's the real content?
Yeah, like this was doing a gigantic universes, 70 years prior. And it's just, I know the only like big change really is they changed Dorothy's slippers from silver to ruby, and that was mostly because they had this Technicolor technology, want to make it pop.
Yes. But anyway, Dorothy's just kind of walking around, chilling, relaxing, all cool, when she gets pulled up on by a lady in a dress, who kind of just teleports in.
Yeah, she's just floating in what appears like a bubblegum bubble.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's really funny. Like, I imagine if somebody got the rights to parody The Wizard of Oz, like right now, I think it'd be like they could do it like. They can make it extremely funny, because like sure this like they're trying to make this fantastical in like 1939, but with all like the tropes of modern cinema, they could make a real banger.
I mean, so we get introduced to Glenda, and she's introducing Dorothy to Oz, telling her like what the hell just happened. But for the most part, Glenda doesn't do shit in this film, and basically holds back Dorothy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been said 1,000 times, but at any point in this movie, Glenda could have just like, "Hey, tap your heels,"
and say "No place like home."
Yeah.
I don't know, and then we find out that Dorothy has committed a homicide with her home.
Yeah, she's committed manslaughter by dropping a house on a witch.
Yeah, Glenda seems real chill about it too. She does not.
Yeah, all these munchkins are. Well, I mean, yeah, the munchkins, they all come out and they're happy and they're celebrating, singing songs. They're celebrating the murder of a person. Like, I mean, we don't know how bad.
She was kind of like Hitler, but like. That's a bad joke to make in 1939. Oh no. But yeah, she's the wicked witch, allegedly. She's not a good person. This witch is now great, and the Munchkins and Glenda are kind of celebrating her death. And she's just Dorothy kind of doesn't really know what's going on. She's just kind of, absorbing it. I really like the Munchkin costumes in this movie.
They're very. They're all over the place.
Yeah, like in this the set design in this movie is supposed to be like over the top, and I think the costumes follow that like really well. Like just looking at some of the shots in this movie is my favorite part, or it's like one of my favorite parts of this movie. Because like it's the one thing that definitely pops. And I feel like if this movie was like black and white throughout the entire thing, it would not have worked nearly as well.
Yeah, I know there's a 1920s Wizard of Oz that actually came before this, that not a lot of people realize. Haven't seen that one, but pretty sure that one's all in black and white. And I don't think that would have the same effect.
Yeah, I mean, like, the whole point of, like, the Realm of Oz is that's supposed to pop out. But I don't really know how they could accomplish that without color.
I mean, I just wonder the whole Munchkins backstory, because there's a point where it's going through the scene, and then we just see this part where there are Munchkins hatching out of, like, eggs.
I don't really know.
Giant eggs.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what the Munchkins like are. Are they just tiny humans, or are they like?
I believe, as much as I'm aware.
I'm not familiar with the lore. This is like Tolkien levels of detail. Where's the simulacrum of the Wizard of Oz? But anyway, the Munchkins are so happy with Dorothy that they give her like a carriage ride. And like a whole marching band comes out, and everybody's so happy about the, And
then they're very adamant about her following the yellow brick road.
Yes.
They say it a few times.
Yes, they say it like 10 billion times.
Yes, just in case she didn't get the message the first 53 times, they keep going.
Yeah. So,
And some of these Munchkins, they sound like they've been smoking 12 packs a day.
Yeah, you know what they say, 12 packs a day keeps the doctor away. But yeah. I mean, this is 1939. I bet all these Munchkins smoked. But yeah, I mean, like, they really wanted to go on the yellow brick road. It's very obvious. Obviously, Toto's there, and he's just kind of chilling.
Yeah, what about the red brick road? What would happen then?
That's a very good question. It's a very good, like, side story. Anyway, that's when another witch shows up. So this is the Wicked Witch.
The Wicked Witch of the West.
She's all green. She's got a kind of like a witch's hat on. It's like Gandalf's hat, but way less cool. And
debatable.
She is not very happy about the events that have transpired.
Well, because that was her sister that got killed.
Yeah.
Which, justifiable reason to be mad.
I guess.
But, the Wicked Witch of the West, they don't call her wicked for nothing. She's, the Munchkins are shrieking in fear when they see her. She's,
they get on the floor.
Later, there's a point where she just throws a random fireball, almost burns down a forest.
Yeah. Not exactly.
But yeah.
So yeah, the Wicked Witch leaves after, and she leaves after, and she's like, "Hey, I'll be back. You better watch your back, or else."
And Dorothy gets on her merry way.
Yeah, she gets the slippers, the red slippers.
Yes.
Because what's the point of murder if you're not going to loot the corpse afterwards?
I always find it funny to look at like the backdrops and just be like, "Oh, okay, that's very obviously just a painted wall that she's about to walk into."
Yeah.
And then it just dissolves. But I'm like, you can't do anything. It's just
must have been
Dorothy, don't run into that wall.
Yeah, that must have been funny to film. It must have been like the Roadrunner gag. She just slams into the wall. I don't know, but the Munchkins are happy to see her off. And Dorothy and Toto are just kind of walking along the path until somebody approaches.
Well, they approach somebody.
Yes. Anyway, so Scarecrow is just chilling.
Yeah,
And,
he's just doing his scarecrow thing.
yeah, he's getting ready to scare off some thingamabobs.
Some crows.
Yeah. I
Um,
crows in this world. I wonder.
I mean, she's walking along, and then she just hears a voice come from nowhere, and you're not going to expect it to be a scarecrow.
Yeah. But anyway, eventually she lets him down because, like, apparently he's stuck up there. and they get to talking, and the Scarecrow. I like the Scarecrow. He makes me very happy.
You and him have a lot in common.
And so the Scarecrow is just kind of like, obviously he's a very like he's jumping around a lot. He's very expressive in his movements.
Yeah, it's very slapstick with his movements and humor.
Yes.
Well, and since he's made of straw, he's got very odd, like jerky movements of how he walks, and sometimes he'll just randomly tumble over.
Yes. But anyway, we discover here that he wants a brain.
If he only had a brain.
Yes. He wants like a human brain. So I mean, he just wants a brain. Okay, he wants to feel like he's a smart scarecrow.
Yeah.
And so then he just kind of agrees to like journey with Dorothy.
Yeah, they have no idea where they're going, but
The Scarecrow's like, I don't know this yellow brick road, dude. I only live here.
merrily they roll along.
Yeah. But anyway, that's when they stumble upon this little orchard.
Yeah, and first they want to get some apple.
Yeah. So like the Wicked Witch is here. She's hiding behind a tree. And so they're just going through this orchard and they want to get an apple, but whammo, they find out that the trees are alive.
Yeah, and looking back on the designs of these trees, I am reminded that it could very well be that the tree beard in that animated Lord of the Rings was based off of these designs.
I don't know.
Very similar.
Yeah. I think it works here because this is like a lot. This is like a goofier movie. This isn't like a.
Oh no, that animated film was quite goofy in different ways.
I don't know. It was just Lord of the Rings is like a serious fantasy story where like it's life or death. And the animated tree beard just shows up.
Anyways.
And yeah, so the trees are just kind of not happy that they're like trying to eat part of them.
Well, I mean, how would you like it if someone just came along and they picked an apple off you and started eating it?
Yeah. But anyway, they run out of the orchard until Dorothy kind of like stumbles around. And that's when she lands at the feet of a Tin Man.
Yes. And we can hear the Tin Man kind of making noises. It's very hard to make out what he's saying, but somehow Dorothy is fluent in rusted Tin Man speak.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like he's just going, making weird noises. But no, she can understand that he's trying to say oil can.
Yes. Because apparently this Tin Man follows the American way and requires as much oil as he needs.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, I don't know how long he's been rusted, but I'm surprised someone hasn't come along and just stolen that oil.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's holding an axe and he's just completely still. That's when Dorothy gives him the oil, and he's like, "Yes, I'll," and he can finally like walk and talk, and he's very very happy that somebody oiled him. And
yes, he can almost jump for joy, but not really.
Unfortunately, he doesn't think he can feel joy because the Tin Man, wants a heart. He wants
another thing you have in common with one of these people.
Yeah, he's like RoboCop if RoboCop was a lot less cool.
It's the first time I've thought about drawing comparisons between the two.
But yeah, so he wants a heart, so that way he can feel like human emotion, I guess. But yeah, so he's just kind of like wandering around, and that's when he decides to join Dorothy and the Scarecrow on their journey.
Because why not?
Yes. And
we should also say during this whole time, Toto is acting like a champ.
Yeah, Toto's the Samwise Gamgee of this story, also known as the True Carrie. And yeah, Toto's acting like a champ, but that's when the Wicked Witch shows up, and she's like, "I freaking hate you guys. You guys suck." And then she throws like a Molotov at the Tin Man.
Yeah, I mean, it almost, it catches the ground on fire, and they got to put it out, and it's just like, girl, what are you doing? You're gonna burn this place down.
I don't understand why she threw like her little fireball at the Tin Man, the one person who in their party who's immune to burning. Because like, if she hits the Scarecrow, he's gonna like die instantly, and Dorothy's just a regular old human.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely more of a scare tactic, but still, like. The fact that she can she's just got pyrotechnics as powers, and yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for all that she's capable of, she isn't very capable of killing these people.
Yes. And, like, it's just not exactly... Like, the Wicked Witch is kind of like a terrible... She's kind of terrible at being wicked.
Well, this is a family film. There's not going to be deaths and murders.
Nah, dude. I'm ready for the Wicked Witch to just murder people. That's what I want out of this movie.
I think it would be interesting to see a more gritty take.
Yeah, where people just get murdered. Anyway, that's when they run into, like, this forest.
I mean, Oz should inherently be a pretty, scary and foreboding place. In a way. Like, we get these scenes, or, coming up, they meet they're walking through a kind of dark foresty area, and, they hear growls, and they're like, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. And then they come across the Cowardly Lion. And you know why he's called the Cowardly Lion?
Because he's a bitch. I'm sorry to say.
Yes.
And
the Cowardly Lion's probably my favorite in this movie. I just like the unique way that Bert Lahr plays it. It plays it as kind of like almost reminds me very much of like a vaudeville comedian.
I guess. Yeah, it's just yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah, the Cowardly Lion is definitely he's a fun character to watch.
Yeah, he's always got a lot of good one-liners, and just yeah.
And yeah, the Cowardly Lion, he tries to spook them, but when like somebody walks at him, he turns on into full bitch mode and starts crying, and yeah. He gets especially.
My favorite is that he doesn't really try to like actually like scare them. He just tries to like fight them and box them. He's like, put them up.
I want to see a version of this movie where the Cowardly Lion just fucks everyone up. He's like an MMA fighter. He's like...
No, he just can't even talk. He's just a rabid lion.
Yeah, and it's just, he says that he wants some courage. Because he's a lion and he wants to be king of the jungle. So, now we got everybody in the party. We got Tin Man, who wants a heart. You got the Scarecrow, who wants a brain. You got the lion, the Cowardly Lion, who, wants some courage.
I've never thought about this until right now, but, like, what is like, the animal population like in Oz? Because, you got things like the cow. Lion is a lion and can walk and can talk and can do whatever. Then you also got things like the flying monkeys, who are basically servants for the Wicked Witch and do anything at her command. So it's like, where's the animal hierarchy within Oz? Like,
yeah.
It's just interesting.
It's just kind of like,
I mean, we can get into the flying monkeys. Talk about nightmare fuel.
yeah, I don't know. Flying monkeys are a lot spookier than I remember them.
I mean, I'm no zoologist, but I don't think monkeys should have like blue faces and red eyes, or wings.
Yeah. Yeah, typically monkeys don't have wings. I don't know if you guys know that. It's not something. Where... I don't know, he just... yeah, but anyway, the Cowardly Lion joins their party, and they just kind of like, they walk out of the forest. And, yeah. I mean, then we see the wicked witch. She's like brewing a potion. And then we get arguably like the prettiest scene in the movie where they come across when they first see Emerald City for the first time.
Yeah, it's a pretty good shot, like
they
set design wise and just special effects wise.
There's like a billion like flowers in front of them, and then they see this giant green city. It looks like somebody messed around with a bunch of emerald blocks in Minecraft. And
I mean, it is the Emerald City.
Yeah,
Emeralds existed a little before Minecraft, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, this city must be rolling in cash money to be making their city out of emeralds. Do you understand how many villager trades they could get? Holy hell. No wonder they're so rich. Anyway, so yeah, the Wicked Witch, like, sends some snow their way. I think. Well, what's the snow made out of in this movie?
Oh, yeah. So there's the scene with the witch. So they're frolicking through the fields. They're going to make it to Oz. But the witch is watching through her crystal ball. And she, sends her spell, or does her magic. And it starts snowing, and the snow puts them to sleep. But a little production behind the scenes, that snow, from what I've read, it was made from asbestos. So asbestos is being poured onto them.
1939.
I don't know how many times I don't know how many times they probably, did takes of that scene.
Yeah. I mean, like, I bet the actors were like, man, this this snow sure is weird.
Anybody else itchy?
Yeah, it's not exactly.
I mean, I feel like that's almost more interesting, like, the story behind the production to get this film made.
Yeah.
I know that they were originally going to have a different person as Tin Man. I don't remember the actor specifically, but he was very allergic to the makeup, and I don't remember what was in it, but he was very allergic, and they had to get rid of him and hire a new guy.
Yeah. And it's just it's just kind of weird to think about, the 1939 safety standards.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's when the witch is like fed up of their shenanigans, and she gets on her broom and she's like, all right, that's it, I'll finish this myself. But anyway, they get to Emerald City, and they have a strange interaction with the man at the front door.
Yes, nobody gets in to see the wizard.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out the costume of this man. Like, when I first saw this movie, I don't know if you guys have seen the old Justice League cartoon. He straight up looks like Lex Luthor in his really cartoony super suit, and it made me laugh really hard the first time I saw it, because his suit is like
it's like green fur. He's got like these furry green gloves.
Yeah, it's like comically green. He's got like these weird, what looks to be wires protruding from his chest, and I don't know what the hell they are. And he's got like the handlebar mustache, and it's pretty funny.
It's memorable.
Yes, but anyway,
this film is very memorable and very influential.
Anyway, he sees Dorothy's sweet kicks, and he's like, "Oh, come on in." And so they come on in, and apparently everybody in this city loves the color green, and because they're all wearing green clothes. And that's when somebody picks them up in a carriage, and for some reason the carriage is being pulled by a purple horse.
Okay, I don't watch this film, too often. Maybe every few years. But this is one moment I didn't remember. I did not remember a Technicolor horse carrying them in through the city. I had to do a double take. I thought I was seeing things. This horse just is changing colors and carrying them. I was like, it's very strange. Why?
Yeah, dude. It was just...
Like, it's another thing where I feel like the second half of this movie is definitely the slower part. And I feel like after they finally come across the lion, I don't know if it's like this for you, but it definitely gets slower for me until, like, at the end it just feels like it's got to wrap it up quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got this strangely, changing horse. Goes from, purple to red to yellow to whatever the hell he goes to. And then he just, never shows up. It's just really strange. Anyway, so we kind of get this scene where, I don't know what the hell they go to, a salon?
Yeah, I mean, they just get pampered.
Yeah, they get pampered. I don't, when I
the
watch
Cowardly Lion's getting his hair done.
Yeah, I don't know, apparently they give the Scarecrow, better straw. This scene kind of scared me when I watched it for the first time because the Tin Man is getting, a giant metal saw on him. Everybody else is getting normal treatment, and then this guy looks like he's in the middle of a saw trap. If Jigsaw popped out of nowhere, he's like, hey, do you want to play a game? I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't know, the Tin Man seems pretty chill with it. Dorothy's getting a manicure. Cowardly Lion gets his hair done. Everybody's in green clothing. And it's just, everybody's feeling great. And that's when...
Seems too good to be true.
Yeah. And that's when the Wicked Witch shows up, and she contributes to air pollution by, drawing out words in the sky.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at how rapidly she does this.
Yeah, she's an expert pilot, apparently. Whoa.
Great. I mean, I was going to say penmanship, but that you can't call that penmanship.
She was not holding a pen, that's for sure.
Ship?
I don't know. Anyway, she types some ominous shit like surrender or something. And then that freaks everyone out in the city because they're like, oh, Christ, where's the air raid alarm? And, yeah, everybody in the city is freaking out. And then, they're just kind of freaking out. And they kind of Dorothy's... Everybody's kind of scared. I'd be scared, too, if a random witch asked me to surrender from the sky. Anyway, that's when the Lion gives, a speech. And he's trying to muster up some of that courage. And he's telling everybody he's telling everybody. I don't know what he's saying anymore. He just kind of goes on this big old rant.
Yeah, he just starts rambling a bit.
Yeah. And then he, wraps around this cloak, and there's a crown, and he, declares himself king. I don't know. Anyway, this is probably my favorite scene of the movie. The Cowardly Lion going off, and him bouncing off all the other characters. Because a lot of this movie is just kind of characters, experiencing things together, and this is one of the only scenes where they have a major conversation together. It's definitely one of my favorite parts.
I mean, this is not a film that sees itself to deep character development.
Yeah.
It's just a light romp with these characters. We know that we're not going to be with these characters for a while. Just go through some interesting scenarios with them.
Yes.
Dorothy eventually gets taken by the witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But then, the wizard. But then... Anyway, for the first time in this goddamn movie named The Wizard of Oz, we're seeing the wizard for the first time. And, everybody's kind of scared. The Cowardly Lion is, again, being a bitch. And, he's scared of... the wizard, the way he's introduced, he kind of looks like Jim Carrey with the mask on. And that's funny, really funny to me. And there's, fire and everything. And, eventually the Tin Man mans up and he like starts telling him off, and each of them gets like their personal like stance against the wizard. And then the wizard's just kind of like, he's being scary.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a floating green head.
It's a floating green head, and he's like, he can summon fire, and it's not great. So anyway, the party is like, oh god, the party's like, I hate this, and so they run. And they get off the yellow brick road, Chase. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I know. The one instruction they were told.
What a bunch of fools. Anyway, that's when they run into the haunted forest.
Yeah, aptly named Haunted Forest.
Yeah,
I don't know why you would go. I don't know why you would go into that.
Yeah, I mean, it's even labeled as a haunted forest. Like, there's a sign. I think it even says, "I'd turn back if I were you." Not exactly the most welcoming place. That's when the witch is like, you guys are on my turf. So she sends out her flying monkeys. And, the flying monkeys kind of, they gang, they rip apart the scarecrow. It's a very brutal, it would be a very brutal scene if he wasn't literally made out of straw. And, I mean, the scarecrow literally gets ripped in half.
Yeah.
He gets torn apart.
I mean, these monkeys go bananas.
Yeah. It's like they're all on Xanax or something. Anyway, yeah, the monkeys yoinks Dorothy, as you said earlier, and Toto. Can't forget about that guy, the hard carry of this movie. And the Wicked Witch gives Dorothy a stern talking to.
Yes.
Yeah, and then she tries to cast her little magic on the shoes, but apparently the magic doesn't work on these red shoes. And that's when, you know.
But Dorothy, she gets put back asleep.
Yeah, she's quite emotional.
Okay, and then we cut to, so we have the Scarecrow, the Cowardly Lion, and the Tin Man. It's the three of them. They're trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, this is basically Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn in the in Treebeard's forest here.
And then they get close to the witch's castle, but then they're like, how are we gonna get in? Then they happen to stumble across three guards, and then I don't know what they do, but 1 minute it's these guards like going for them, and then next thing you know, they're all in the guards' uniforms. I assume that they murdered the three guards.
I assume that the Tin Man chopped them up.
The Tin Man gave them tinnitus.
No, the Tin Man gave them the tin axe. Holy.
I mean,
it's not been pretty.
I mean, if you think about it, the four main party members have all killed a person.
I guess.
At least that's what's implied.
I don't know. Especially watching this, after revisiting this film, after watching Lord of the Rings, it really reminds me of that scene where Frodo and Sam show up in orc uniforms. It's like exactly the same thing, because they're both like parties in these movies are entering a gate. This is really a dumb comparison. Anyway, that's when the gang rescues Dorothy, because the Tin Man apparently like has the strength of Iron Man in the Mark 1, because he like chops down this reinforced door.
Well, I mean, they're just are able to stumble. I mean, you got the uniforms, you stumble into the building.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm sure a lot of people have brought up is, why the heck does Bitch have just a bucket of water in her castle if she, is allergic to water, and she knows that will kill her? Doesn't make sense.
But anyway,
that's like having a sprinkler system in the castle.
Yeah, that's like having cyanide next to your water, like in a regular person's house. It's just not a good idea. Like, somebody's gonna make a mistake. But no one ends up making a mistake.
Yeah, you're telling me one of those monkeys isn't just gonna be getting up randomly and then knock that over?
Yeah. Anyway, shenanigans happen, and Dorothy straight up yeets this water at the Wicked Witch, and we get the most famous scene in this movie. I'm melting!
10 out of 10 impression.
Yes, it was spot on. They actually hired me to do it. Anyway, that's when I find this, like, really funny. That's when Dorothy picks up the now dead Wicked Witch's broomstick and brings it back to the wizard as a trophy of war.
Yeah.
Like, this is just straight up.
I mean, they did say they wanted like a sign proving she was in fact dead. But it doesn't make it any less morbid.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like this straight up, she's bringing this, she throws it at his feet, she's like...
I mean, I'm sure if she could, she would bring back, like, the head of the witch.
Yeah, she just, like, it's like a really cliche movie where she just, like, she walks into the room and the wizard's like, is it done? And she just throws it to her head.
I mean, do you think they hang up that broom as kind of like a token saying, like, hey, she's dead, or do you think they, like, use it as firewood? Just a big middle finger to her.
No, they just hang it up in the Great Hall. When the monkeys come bargaining for peace, they just point to it. This is what I did to your master.
This stuff is probably all explained in the 25 extra books, and we're just...
I mean, there's probably...
Let us know in the comments if you've read all those books.
There's like a J.R. Tolkien, like, simulacrum explaining the lore. But anyway, that's when the wizard is revealed. Anyway,
yes, so our boy Toto doing the Lord's work and pulling back the literal and metaphorical curtain.
Yeah, so the wizard's popping off until Toto takes one for the team and, like, yoinks his curtain back. And the wizard is exposed as this man with, like, a voice filter and a bunch of machinery controlling. I mean, this is, like, really advanced tech for, like, 1939. This guy's got, like, holograms and stuff. But yeah, so I mean, the wizard even tries.
The people that made that for the Wizard of Oz are also the same people that made the Tupac hologram.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like the wizard even tries to salvage himself. He's like, "Don't mind that man."
Yeah, don't mind the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, but anyway, that's when the wizard, you know, finally admits he's like, "Okay, I've been deceiving you."
Yeah. And at this point in the story, I feel like it's just very, very, very,
it's
very
rushed.
much trying to wrap it up, very rushed.
Yeah, I mean,
so
like...
I find it so funny with we see, you know, the wizard, or you know, I mean, I guess he's still calling the wizard, but the man behind the curtain, you know, going his speeches to each one of the people, being like, you know, you don't need a brain, and you know, you have courage. And, you know, who's to say what a heart is, yada yada. And he's giving them each their items.
Yeah, Scarecrow gets a diploma.
Which, if you think about it, the Wizard of Oz has, you know, forged documents. This Scarecrow is going to probably go on to do some illegal medical practice
He's
or something.
Pull a Frank Abagnale and work at a hospital despite not being a doctor.
Dang, that is... Take a shot for every time we reference a movie that we've already talked about on here, or at least Nando has.
CNC Commentaries does not claim any responsibility for alcohol poisoning
or cyanide poisoning.
You know, whatever you drink, we don't take responsibility. Anyway, so the Cowardly Lion gets a medal.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, Scarecrow gets a degree, which, you know, useful. Tin Man gets a medal, or no, Cowardly Lion gets a medal, and that's like, you know, that's a pretty significant thing, you know.
I guess, yeah.
You know, and then the Tin Man, you know, he wanted a heart, but he gets like this alarm clock looking thing, and I'm like, in comparison to the two other objects, Tin Man got fucked over.
Yeah, if I was the Tin Man, I'd be like, oh, thanks for the alarm clock, you know, for all the sleeping I have, asshole.
Well, I mean, he did spend many years just in a permanent state.
Oh, can you imagine if the alarm clock goes off and he's not old enough to get up to turn it off? Oh. But yeah, anyway, so he gets Tin Man gets like an alarm clock in the shape of a heart. Tin Man, or the Cowardly Lion, gets a medal, and Scarecrow gets a degree. And obviously, like, I think it would have been a lot better if the wizard literally gave the Scarecrow a human brain.
He just goes up to a Munchkin or Wizard of Oz, and he's just, hey, you, come here.
Hold still, Sonny. This won't hurt a bit.
The 5-finger death grip.
Yeah, and then he just gave Caroline like a bottle of whiskey. Like, here's liquid courage. Anyway, so yeah, with everyone satisfied except maybe the Tin Man, everybody has a great old celebration there in Emerald City, and the wizard just kind of dips in a.
Well, here's the thing. Dorothy is gonna go on the hot air balloon with him, and he's gonna leave the Tin Man, Scarecrow, Cowardly Lion just in charge to rule Oz while they go off and do their adventures. But then Dorothy sees Toto is on the ground, and she's like, whoa, my dog! And then, for some reason, I don't know how long this man has been operating the hot air balloon, but he can't stop it. And he's just starts going away.
He's bye.
For some reason, this hot air balloon is going horizontally.
It doesn't seem like there's any wind or anything. It's just he's just
drifting. I mean, normally hot air balloons go up, and
this guy's moving like diagonally.
Yeah. So Dorothy's stuck on the ground, and she's like, "How am I supposed to get home now?"
Yeah.
And then
that's when the fairy godmother shows up.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so she's like, "Oh, you want to go home? Well, here's this piece of information I've been holding on to for like the past 2 hours that I could have told you and saved you a lot of danger, death, and hardship." Anyway, she's like, "Oh yeah."
It's about the learning experience.
Yeah. Anyway, she's like, "Okay, you see, if you just kind of tap your shoes together and think about Kansas, then you'll go to Kansas."
Which makes you wonder, if she tapped her shoes and thought about somewhere else, would she be teleported there? Like, she tapped her shoes and just was transported to Barbados or something.
Tapped her shoes, going to bet it all on Vegas.
Yes.
Anyway, so she's like, okay, well, she says goodbye to each of her friends, and she's like, okay, later, nerds. And then she wakes up in one of the lamest endings in movie history.
And it was all a dream.
Yeah, she wakes up with like everybody surrounding her, and then everybody's like laughing, be like, "Oh, thank God you're all right." And then she's like, "What the hell?" No, but everybody's happy, and everybody seems, now that she has this kind of dream experience, she's like, "Okay, I'm waking up a better person." Yeah. And that's
we see her, talking to her ATM, all that, but also farmhands. She's like, "You look just like this cowardly lion," and yada yada. And it almost makes you wonder, like, in the context of the film, was it actually a dream?
Yes.
Because I feel like there's a little bit of like a wink and nod from them, almost like, "Oh, Dorothy, you're crazy," kind of like, shut up. Gonna blow it.
You're gonna blow the ruse.
But yeah, that's the Wizard of Oz. Is there anything else we want to bring up? I mean, we can talk about this film has had.
We said a lot. Basically said all we. I mean, like, yeah, there's a lot to appreciate this film on a technical level, but yeah.
I mean, there's been so many iterations of this story over the years, and this is the most iconic and most memorable, I think, for good reason.
Yeah.
Despite what I might say about the Muppets Wizard of Oz, this is a classic for a reason, I think, and this is a seminal family film, and I feel like, it's just influence. We didn't talk about this. Directed by Victor Fleming, or at least partially directed by Victor Fleming, depending on what you read. And Victor Fleming also had another film come out in 1939, Gone with the Wind, which won Best Picture. So he had a very busy year that year.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just. I mean, this movie kind of, as I said earlier, it bores me for like the majority of its run. But like, I never say this is a bad movie. It's just not really my thing. I mean,
yeah, that's understandable, especially because like, you know, you didn't see this like particularly at a younger age.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I didn't.
I don't. I mean, I probably saw this at a young age, but I don't remember it. But I feel like this is just like, it's just, you know, there's just something iconic about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah. I guess I just can't view this movie through the nostalgia goggles because I don't have any nostalgia for this movie. I mean, like, it's just because I'm not like an extremely big like fairy tale person, I guess. Because this movie definitely is like a fairy tale, and I don't know. I still appreciate it on a technical level, though. This movie accomplished some things.
I feel like this is. I feel like this is one of those movies where even if you haven't seen it, like actually seen it, you know the story.
Yeah, you know what I said about it. You know what it is. You've heard of the Wizard of Oz before. So it's just, I think it's neat.
Yeah, I agree. You know, in retrospect, I would probably say this film is influential and maybe more deserving, at least in my opinion, in 1939 for Best Picture than Gone with the Wind. But that's a topic for another day. Final thoughts, Nando?
I don't know. I appreciate this film on a technical level. This movie is far better if you watch it with a friend. Like if you just have.
Oh, you're lucky to have me then.
Yeah, I know, definitely. And I don't know, like it's funny to like laugh at the scenes with a friend and laugh at the over the top nature of this movie. But, like, this is never a movie I flick on just by myself. Like, I mean, I'll flick it on if I want to fall asleep. Boom. It's just zinger after zinger tonight. I don't know. I'd probably give this movie... I'd probably give this movie 5.5 out of 10. Not my thing. And again,
you're a crazy man.
My scale 5 is just average.
You're a crazy man.
I give it a 5.5.
You're a crazy man.
Not my thing, but I like it on a technical level. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. What about you, Chase?
I feel like that is a little low. Like I said, this isn't a film I rewatch often, but when I do, I always enjoy rewatching it. It's just, I feel like you never don't have a smile on your face when watching this. I feel like it holds a certain cultural status and importance that it's, for the most part, deserved of. And I would give this film, I'd probably give this film an 8.5 out of 10.
You're insane.
I'm insane.
You're a crazy man.
This is the go-to family film fantasy musical.
Yeah, but like I can think of so many other good other family films that are like far more entertaining.
Well, there are definitely ones I enjoy more, but I also think on an influential level, both story-wise and technology-wise, you have to give it credit.
Oh, definitely.
Well, that wraps up The Wizard of Oz. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed, do all that stuff, like, comment, subscribe. Yes. Let us know your thoughts on The Wizard of Oz. Which one of us is actually in our thoughts?
The ultimate decider. Team Nando or Team Chase?
Should I give a tease for our next episode?
Dude, all of you.
Okay. We're continuing the the Chase picks.
Yeah, Chase gets 3 special picks.
We're going with another decently an older film. It's from 1967. Haven't rewatched it in a bit. I don't think you've ever seen it. Based on a true story about a couple that was known for robbing banks back in the day.
Oh boy.
talking about Bonnie and Clyde.
My favorite couple.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, and I'm interested to revisit it because I think it ushered in a new wave of Hollywood. Well, tune in next time for that. I've been Chase.
Well, I've been
Goodbye.
Nando. Goodbye.